I've never fully told the entirety of my story to anybody. Most people don't know the details, and I won't even go into full detail here. He had complete physical control and mental control over me, and I wanted out so bad. I was not in that relationship that long. I tried to leave a couple times. I left one time while he was in the shower, I believe. I grabbed whatever I could while he was in the shower, and I got my vehicle and I left, and it was late at night. It was like midnight, and as crazy as it is, I went to this gas station. I called my mom and I was like, this is what's going on. She kind of knew what was going on, and I said, I need to get gas in my vehicle and I need to go. I don't know where I need to go, but I need to get away from him. He's crazy. Like, I was so scared. I pull up to the gas station and I look over and I'm getting gas, and it's my dad. At midnight, I got the gas and I pulled up there to go pay, and my dad looked over and he walked over and he goes, Amanda Irene, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And I told him what was going on, and he went in and he paid for my gas, and he said, you get in my truck with your stepsister and I'm going to drive your truck home. We're taking you to the farm. So they took me to the farm. Anyway, I had to go back to his uncle's house to get my stuff, and he begged me to stay. He begged me to stay. And I was scared to leave again. I didn't have any help. I was very ignorant to all that kind of stuff. I didn't have any help. Anyway, so we lived together for like 2 months in that house, March to April, May. He was crazy. I was making plans with my children just in case he attacked us to leave. We were trying to be safe about things, and he got mad. He got very angry and got mad and started getting very paranoid. And I was scared. I was scared to death. I was scared of him. I knew it was coming. I was like, oh, I just felt it deep down in here. Something just wasn't right. And he was upset at me. He thought I was cheating on him. He grabbed a hold of my phone and pushed me down in my son's bedroom or my daughter's bedroom. And he put his hands around me, started to me. He started being mean to my kids, and he had a cigarette in his mouth, and he got in my face. My daughter was like latched onto me, she's like my mini me, and she was just kind of holding on to me. She's 7 years old. And she was holding on to me, hugging me. My son was standing over here, and he had my lanyard with my keys around his neck. And C got up and he grabbed a hold of me, grabbed a hold of my arm, and started dragging me and my daughter across the room. My daughter wouldn't let go. I was trying to get her to let go because I didn't want her to get hurt, but he drug us across the room, and my son took that lanyard off of from around his neck with it, and he took off. He left. We just grabbed what we had. Like, I grabbed my purse and I told the kids, I said, get in the car. And I got in the car, and I still had money from my school, my college. That's why I have $60,000 in debt for college student loans. It's because it helped us get away. He was trying to call me. He kept trying to call me. I realized I didn't even grab anything for myself. I was so worried and so scared and paranoid that he was going to show up. So I just grabbed whatever was in the dryer or whatever. It happened to be all the kids' clothes, and I was like, I don't have any clothes. So I told the kids, I said, listen, we're going to go back to the house, and I want you to stay in the car with the AC on. It was May. I said, you do not get out of this vehicle unless I tell you to. You stay in this vehicle. Because I was scared. I went in there by myself. I didn't see anybody. I didn't hear anything. I walked through the whole entire house, looked in the backyard, didn't see anything. So I went in to get clothes, and I just started putting clothes in a trash bag or a Walmart bag. And I was opening my top drawer in my underwear drawer, and I was just scooping it out in there. And all of a sudden I hear, oh, that's what you're going to do. And I turn around, and it was him. C was standing there, and he was high. His eyes were black. He was sweating profusely. At this point in time, he'd probably been up for 5 days. He was overly paranoid. He was bipolar, schizophrenic. And he was a beast. And he had magic superpowers at that time. Physical. I was scared to death. Scared to death. And he told me, he said, drop the bag. sit your ass on that chair right there, on that couch right there. And I said, my kids are out in the car. Please don't do this. We'll come back in. We'll be fine. Just please don't do this. Please don't hurt us. And he said, I'm not going to touch the kids. And he looked at me straight in the eyes and he said, I'm going to kill you. I just don't know how to do it yet. And at that point in time, my kids were in the car. And I thought I was going to die. Thought he was going to. He picked up the coffee table. And I knew he was going to hit me with it. But something happened and he put the coffee table down and he went out and he looked out the window and he looked out the door and he saw my kids and he said, I can't do this with them here. And I was so scared. I said, please leave my kids alone. Please don't mess with them. He said, I'm not ever going to touch your kids, but I'm going to you. And I didn't know what to do. I was praying. I was just like, what do I do? What do I do? And so I was sitting there on that couch and I didn't have my phone. He actually took my phone from me, I think, or I left my phone in the car with the kids. I didn't know what to do. And he kept looking at me and he kept inching toward the front door, like torn about what he needed to do. Because if he went out the front door, he couldn't see me anymore in the living room the way it was. He couldn't see me. He couldn't keep an eye on me. Well, he made the choice to go out the front door. And I thought I locked my door. I thought I locked the car door. So I thought my kids are safe. He can't get in there. And I told my kids not to move. And so I took that split second, and I believe the split second saved my life, but I took that split second and I ran out the back door and I went around and I saw this big, huge. I went around to this very elderly lady's house next door. I went around her backyard and I went to her front door and I was banging, banging, banging. Well, she had a walker. And I said, please let me in. Please let me in. I'm being, the guy, kids are out there. And I heard him say, Amanda. And he was like right out in her front yard, almost to the front door. And I went inside and I shut and bolt locked her door. And I found her phone and I called 911. And I went to find the nearest window, which happened to be her bedroom. And I was on the phone with the 911 and I was watching my kids and I was trying to bang on the door, telling them where I was at. And I called 911 at the same time. And he jumped in my car. And he took off with my kids. He kidnapped my kids. But luckily, he stopped at the stop sign right there in the corner, and my son grabbed my daughter's hand and they jumped out of the car. They jumped out of the car and he took off with my car and I didn't care. My kids came to the lady's door and I let them in. We locked the door and just a couple minutes later the cops showed up and I wasn't the only one that called the cops. He wrecked my car into the side of a building, into a barber shop, and he had my wallet and my ID and my phone and everything, and the lady knew who I was and she saw that he had all my things and she called 911 and all my stuff, all my belongings, my kids' stuff was strung for over a mile. They shut the entire highway down. They shut the highway down. All my stuff was just strung from my house almost, or from, I don't know if he was pouring my stuff out the window or what was going on, but it was strung from my house all the way to like a mile down the road where they found him. They found him hiding in the woods and they arrested him. He had ran from where he wrecked. He had actually went into the barber shop and was trying to hide, and then he saw that they were calling 911 and he left and he just ran and hid in the woods across the road. And they arrested him. And that's what happened.